Good afternoon, everybody. We're going to do something a little different today. We want to do a couple different things. One of the things that I was talking to a buddy of mine yesterday, and it occurred to me that the way I managed my calendar starting at the end of last year and going into this year was one of the key factors that allowed me to start scaling my business further. And I never really kind of dissected why that was, because it just kind of worked. I told people about it when I was initially doing. I got a lot of people that kind of laughed at me and said, like, "Oh, good luck with that. That'll never work." But it actually worked really well, and I really like it. And it's I feel like it has made me not only more productive, but it's also made it much easier to work harder. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, a hard task made more difficult is more exhausting than the same task made simpler, right? So, like, for example, say you had to move like 50-pound bags of concrete from a pallet into your basement, but between every load, you had to go up and ring a bell, like one of those bells on like a hotel desk, right? So you go up and you ring the bell, and then you go down. And you do that after a while, and it starts grinding on you that you keep having to go up and ring this stupid bell and then go down, and you're never, it feels like the hard task is being made infinitely harder by this little fine grain annoyance that you're running into every time you try to do the main task at hand. And that's what I felt was happening with my calendar. I already had hard work to do, because it's hard work running a business. It's hard work being a writer. It's hard work doing all the stuff I do. But it was being made infinitely harder by the fact that I had all these little tiny, ugly grains of sand getting stuck in my eye at every turn, making it infinitely more difficult to do the things that I needed to do to grow this business. And when I implemented this calendar system, even though it looks nightmarish, and I do, when you just look at it, it's like, oh my God, I could never do that. It actually ended up giving me more free time. It gave me more time to be productive during the day. I'm sleeping better. Like everything about it has improved my life. And yet I've never, there's people have talked about time blocking, and this is kind of that, but not really. People have talked about having a routine, and this is kind of that, but it's not really. It's just something I kind of came up with the help of some other people's input as I was putting it together. But I wanted to show you, in the hopes that someone else out there who has a really awful schedule, or who hates their schedule, or who hates how it feels like everything they do is infinitely harder because of their schedule, can learn from this and implement it in their own lives. And it's free. It costs nothing. All you need is a calendar subscription somewhere. Google Calendar, whatever your favorite flavor of calendar is. So I'm gonna share my actual calendar and show you how this works. So give me a second to get that pulled up here. Let's see here. And I don't think you're going to really be able to see anything like sensitive, so I'm not really worried about that. But I am going to limit the view to a couple weeks out from today, because what ends up happening is I want to show you what it looks like in terms of like stuff that is already planned on the calendar first. And then I want to go back and show you what it looks like as stuff starts getting filled in. Okay, so let me share my screen here. All right. So, let's see that there. I always got to figure out where I am here. Okay. can't really see that. Let's see, maybe does this be better? I guess that's a little better. Let me see if I can hide some of this stuff so you can see it even better. So we do that. And I guess you can't really hide that bar. That's okay. You're looking at a Monday through Friday view. And the big thing that I was struggling with my calendar was finding time, like finding where my time was going. It felt like I was always chasing my tail. I was never able to get caught up, and that there was some giant drain on my time, and I couldn't figure out where it was. And so what I did is at the end of last year, I told all my clients, hey, there's going to be some scheduling changes. I'm changing some stuff around with my schedule. So you're gonna get new invites. If those new times don't work for you, that's totally cool. We'll find something else that works. But I need to make some changes in order to accommodate my workload. And so what I did first was I looked at the times outside of working times, because the inside times, that where it got dicey. That's where I had a lot of conflicting, people on my schedule and all of that. But the outside time, the time before 8 o'clock and after, 4 o'clock, say, that was a little easier to predict. And so the first thing I did was I said, well, what time would I ideally want to get off? Right? I didn't start with the morning. I started with what time I wanted to get off. And the reason was because when I wake up in the morning, I don't really have any responsibilities beyond waking up, getting dressed, saying hi to Molly. Kelly's taking care of Molly throughout the morning. I just need to get up and go to work. And so that schedule is a little bit more flexible in terms of what time I want to wake up, and I can use that time for whatever I want. In the afternoons, I need to be available in order to help Kelly with Molly as much as possible. That doesn't always happen, but as you see here, like I have playtime listed out on my calendar at a specific time. And so what that tells me is by this time, I need to have everything wrapped up. I have a daily wrap up that happens at the same time each week, or each day, that tells me, okay, I need to, I have 30 minutes now from 4 to 4:30 to get all the stuff I need done to get set up for my next kind of session where I'm going to sit down and work. I have dinner on the calendar. I have playtime after dinner. I have Molly's bedtime on there. And then I have blocks of time that I can do work, right? I have a media review slot, and then I have this admin review, and I have it go till 11:45 p.m. And the reason I have those is simple. It is time where my wife and I are just sitting on a couch. Sometimes we're watching our own stuff. Like last night, she was watching The Bachelor or something, and I was watching Kill Tony, and I was able to go and do stuff. It doesn't mean I have to do it. It just means like I have that time available. And what's fascinating about putting that time on and having that show up on your calendar is I actually do more work during that time, because there starts to be this expectation of, well, it's on your calendar. You're supposed to be doing this. You ought to be doing this. And so that was a really interesting revelation to me when I first started doing this. I realized like I was getting done with, saying goodnight to Molly, putting her to bed, doing that whole routine, going downstairs, and then actually working. I was getting a lot more done. And so that I was like, wow, that's really surprising. Now, it doesn't mean I was working until midnight every night. In fact, actually, the amount of time I'm working in the evenings is actually lessening, because what I have found is I'm actually less productive in the evenings, and it's better for me to go to bed earlier and then wake up earlier because I'm more productive in the mornings. And so while I have this, this is still kind of blocked out the way it's blocked out, eventually I'm just going to kind of have this set so that, I put my bedtime at 11, say, that's kind of when I'm comfortable going to bed. And that way it's the same feedback mechanism where I see it on there. I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to be in bed. And it cues me. And it sounds stupid. I know, like you're probably sitting there shaking your head and going like, this is it. This is your grand productivity hack. I don't know why it works. I'm not a psychologist. All I can tell you is it does work. Putting this, so just going, again, we're going to go kind of from the bottom of the day up. Then like on Fridays, we have this movie night thing. one of the things that my wife and I used to do a lot before we had Molly was we watched movies together, we watched TV shows together. But since we had Molly, we really stopped doing that. Partially because she was really sensitive to noise when she was little and like littler. She's still very little. And partially just because we were so exhausted that she would just go into bed really early because Molly was waking up throughout the night and I was just busy with work. Well, what we found is now that we have the movie night on there, we've actually watched a lot more stuff together, which is nice because we bond over that stuff. We talk about it. We get excited for our next show. We're talking about whether we're going to watch this thing about the moon that she found or like the new Shogun show. So it's like it gives us back that time that otherwise was just kind of lost because it wasn't structured. It wasn't on the calendar for us to go like, oh yeah, tonight's movie night. We're gonna go watch something. The other, so then, going back up all the way to the end of the day, you have all of this stuff fixed in the calendar. Now, it doesn't mean that some days I have to work later. That's just, I own a business. I do my best to be done at 4, but that doesn't always happen, right? It just is what it is. So the next thing I was thinking about was, well, I need to know what time I'm getting up in the morning so that I can bookend this. Because if I bookend it, then I know exactly what I'm working with, and I know where I can fit other things during the day. And I had a really hard time with that because I was like, well, where should I put social engagement? Like I really should engage on social media. Well, if you'd read all the articles, it's like, oh, well, you should engage at 9:30 a.m. or something. Like I have stuff at 9:30 a.m. I can't do that. And so I was going through this and trying to figure out like what does my morning look like? And what I realized I needed to do was instead of trying to map out my morning, I needed to just create a list of the things that I thought I would be most productive with from the hours of like 4 in the morning till 7 in the morning. Because 7 in the morning is when I need to start my whole wake up routine. Molly actually wakes up at 7 now, not 7:30. So like this needs to be adjusted. But I needed to know like between 4 a.m. and 7 a.m. what are the things I could get done in that 3-hour block of time that would make me most productive for the rest of the day. And so one of the things I've always struggled with is working out every day. I've just always struggled because it's one of those things. I had a gym membership. I went really consistently, but then I would wake up too late and it would be too late to go and I wouldn't do it. Well, I started putting this on my calendar and wouldn't you know it, I started working out every day. And I feel better because, you work out, you feel better, gets your endorphins going and all that stuff. It's fascinating. So now, because it's there, because I see that's the first thing I see before I go to bed, when I look at my calendar, it's naturally building in this feedback mechanism to say, hey, you should be up by now, you should be working out. So even if I'm running late, I still go and try to sneak in a workout of some, I go on I have a bike and I have TRX straps. I'll fit something in. I'll get something going during that period, even if I wake up late. But keeping me to this routine has now opened up 3 hours of time that during that workout, because most of the time I'm just doing cardio, I can also be working. So I can do the social engagement. I can write. I can do all that stuff that I was doing slower and less effectively in the evening. I now can do quicker and more effectively because I'm fresh in the morning. The next thing that I realized I needed was my team, and this is actually a more recent thing, was that my team needs me for at least an hour a day just to be available. It's not that they need to talk to me all the time. It's not that they're constantly coming to me for approvals. Like, I do approve a lot of the work that comes through, but there's plenty of stuff that they are like, it's client work that we do day in, day out, and we have a really good team in place. They know what the expectation is. They ship great work without my approval. But it doesn't change the fact that I still need to be there on a day-to-day basis to answer questions, just to be around. And that was something I never had in my old schedule because I was constantly just running between stuff. And then everything would have to wait till this team meeting at the end of the week. And so what I started doing is I started saying, all right, 8 to 9 a.m., not seeing clients. I'm not doing anything but doing an internal office hours where people can come and ask me questions. It also gives me an extra hour because I have to be at my desk. It means that I'm showing up at 7:30 as opposed to rolling in at 8 or 9. It also makes sure that when I'm there, if no one's coming, I'm still able to work on stuff. I still have that hour blocked out of just doing stuff. which means if I wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning, say I have work at 5, that's like 4 hours, 3 hours of solid work that I can get done with only like a 30-minute period in there that I have to like get ready, and another 30 minutes where I spend with Molly when she wakes up. So like that's a huge amount of time when you extrapolate that over a week. That's 15 hours a week that I'm gaining back in productivity. And the whole reason I'm able to do it is because I put it on the stupid calendar. Before, I could have done this before, but I didn't. It didn't start clicking until it was on the calendar, and I saw that every night before I went to bed. Oh, yep, I got it. I'm going to be up at this time, and I'm going to work out, and I'm going to do social engagement. I'm going to do all this stuff. So, am I perfect at social engagement? Are there days where I'm more productive than others? Are there days where I skip social engagement altogether and do something else? Yes. Yes to all of those things. In fact, looking over this, I'm realizing I need to tweak some of these because the timelines no longer line up with the reality of what I'm doing now. But what's fascinating is that if I have workout at 5:45, I will be working out at 5:45. If I go and move that up to 5:30, automatically everything will adjust in my life, and I will start subconsciously targeting to make sure I'm up at 4:30 to do that workout, or 5:30 to do that workout. So that was the next thing. Then it came time for my week, like the big meat and potatoes of my day. And so that's like, not the 9 to 4 thing. And now I knew I had some hard fixed things that weren't going anywhere. So I have this group support session that I host for our coaching clients. And then I have another one on Friday for the Heartbeat. Heartbeat is a community platform that I do a free marketing coaching session for every week. And these were solid, right? They weren't moving. And I knew that I wanted to surround those with a break because, listen, I want some time. I don't want to be late to this session because a lot of people are waiting on me. Also, I just need a break in there. So I put in 2 30-minute breaks and I put that. So that became kind of the structure of my week. Now, another big thing that I've always tried to maintain, and again, not perfect, I'm human, is that I don't like seeing clients on Mondays and Fridays. And the reason is because I really need time to work on the business. There's a lot of elements to running an agency that if you aren't able to sit down and work on, you stagnate as an agency. You don't develop new products. You don't develop new services. You don't develop new insights. And so one of the things that I found really, really critical was saying, okay, all of my standing client sessions, the stuff I know is happening week after week. So this is all the stuff in green. I'm going to put it on the calendar. I'm going to put it Tuesday through Thursday. Anything that is outside of that group that is not an ongoing, I'm just going to let people fill in where they fill in. And if that means they have to jump in on a Friday or a Monday, that's fine. But eventually I'm going to narrow that down so they can just book Tuesday through Thursday, and my Mondays and Fridays are free. Two reasons why I picked Monday and Friday out of these. One, if I want to take a long weekend on either side, it's possible. Two, holidays. A lot of holidays fall on Mondays. It's just a lot easier to go and say, all right, well, I'm just not going to, because I already am not seeing clients. I can just go and cancel these standing stuff with my my internal team and with my, these are like my financial meetings. Those are easy to cancel, right? I don't have to cancel on a client and reschedule them and all of this stuff. So it makes my life a lot easier having Mondays and Fridays just be those kind of internal meetings. Fridays, if I don't have anything after 1:30, I'm pretty much free for the rest of the day. So if we need to leave on a trip, which we've had to do occasionally, or I just want to take a weekend and hang out with Kelly and Molly, I can do that. This week we have to go to our lawyer's office to fill out some paperwork. We can do that because I don't have anything booked during this time. And so that was a key piece of it. It's like making sure that all of my reoccurring appointments for clients all happened between Tuesday and Thursday, and they didn't bleed over into Monday and Friday. And I was really severe about that. The other thing that I needed to make sure was that I had the space blocked out for this stream, and then I initially thought I was going to do 2 streams a week. The reality is that I really can't. I just don't have the bandwidth to do 2. Not for lack of ideas. I'm sure I could come up with something. It's just a real challenge to block out a 90-minute period of time when you're trying to run an agency of my size, especially when, and we're going to talk about this later, especially when I am still involved in a lot of the creative development for my clients, which is something we have to address, which we'll address here in a second. But that really became my structure. Now, here's where it gets scary. And up here, like, yeah, this is you don't really have to worry about. I'm doing alternate day fasting, so that has nothing to do with it. It just reminds me which days I'm eating and which days I'm not eating. But most of this is all pretty much standard. So if you go any week to week, like if we go one more week out, it's going to look pretty much the same. If we go another week out, it's going to look the same, so on and so on and so forth, right? Now, the other cool thing I'll mention before I show you what it looks like on a daily basis, so like what my calendar looks like this week, which is, you know, that's where it starts getting scary. The other thing I noticed was I always felt like I didn't have any time for personal development, and now my workout time doubles as my personal development time. So I have watched so many courses in the last like 6 weeks since I've been doing this. It's nuts. And because I love learning, I am a lifelong learner, it actually gets me excited to work out. So even though I'm not a huge fan of waking up at 5 and jumping on an exercise bike and doing cardio for an hour, I will do it because it means I get to learn. And so it's like, it's all about like hacking those reward mechanisms in your brain and the accountability mechanisms in your brain. And like when those things come together, it's just perfect. It just works so freaking well. And so this has been hugely beneficial doing this. Now here's where it gets ugly, right? So this is what my calendar looks like this week, right? You'll notice a lot more packed, a lot more stuff going on. But this is what it's like running an agency of my size, is you get pulled into stuff. You have follow-up calls. You have stuff that moves around. This is a client that had to move, right? I have, this is a call with TikTok later. I'm on a show, by the way. I'm on a Phil Mansilo's show later today. It's on a bunch of networks on the Roku platform as well as some other places. But look up Phil Manzillo if you're interested. We're going to be talking about some of the myths around overnight success. So it should be a really good chat. We're starting at right around 5:50 this evening. So next, you know, when you're looking at some of this other stuff, it's like I have big like writing sessions, and like that takes up, and like that's taking me away from dinner. The other thing is like, because I'm doing this alternate day fasting thing, it's like, well, now I don't have dinner on these days, which extends my time. It means I don't spend as much time with Molly here, but if I'm spending more time with her in the morning after I, you know, adjust these times, and I'm spending more time with her after dinner, then it's kind of evening out. It's not perfect. Like I said, I'm always trying to get more time with her. She's, you know, just my favorite person in the world to hang out with. So I'm always trying to maximize how much time. One of the things that I put on here that I was really happy about was like, I actually go to her story time every week at the library down the street. And it's like, I had to plan that out. I had to put that in and say like, okay, this is, you know, I'm being very intentional about this. I just noticed this guy snuck in here. I'm gonna have to move him because this time I need to adjust that break because I can't meet him at that time. So there's stuff that's still not perfect, but it's amazing when you have that core structure, how predictable the rest of your day, the rest of your week becomes, and how easy it is to manage the overall workload. Also, blocking out, this is the other thing I forgot to mention. So if I just to clean this up, let's look a couple weeks into the future here. So like I have this workshop time right here, and then I have more time, and then I have a meeting, a one-on-one meeting with my head of operations here, and then I have my team meeting here. And one of the things that is phenomenal is putting this 3-hour block on the calendar. It prevents people from stealing literally my most productive time, which is Monday morning after the weekend, coming in and like crushing it with all the ideas that I've been thinking about. And so this is like, I've realized this is my golden hour. And so, or golden hours. So I've just blocked that off entirely to make sure that I'm hyper productive in that morning. And when I miss this, I'm like as grumpy as someone when they miss like a workout or something. It drives me crazy when I miss this because it's the time when I'm absolutely most productive. So all that to say, this is working really well. I had a lot of people who were doubters who said, this is crazy. How can you like segment your life in such ways? The reality is, I really like it. It gives me a lot of direction. Maybe it's the minor autism in me speaking or something, but I like having this regimented and this structured. It gives me a lot of like direction throughout the day. It also makes my days go by so much quicker. Like I don't have to meet with as many clients each day. Like for example, on a regular week, I'm only seeing 2 clients and then my group coaching call on Tuesdays. That's pretty solid. Like that's not bad at all. Yeah, I'm going to pick up a couple people here and there, but if those are my only 2 standing meetings, that gives me a lot of latitude week to week. So anyway, I hope that was helpful. We were talking about the other day and I was like, yeah, maybe this would help somebody because no one ever showed me this. No one taught me this. It was literally came down to my schedule's a mess. I'm tired of it being a mess. I'm going to fix it. And then I talked to some people who had done this before and they'd given me some advice on like how to lay it out. But at the end of the day, I was the one that really took the charge. And when I showed the guy who originally was telling me kind of basics of how to do this, he thought it was horrifying. So, I get it. This isn't for everybody. But if you feel like something like this could help, I'd really encourage you to try it because it's been the biggest productivity hack. I've done so much more with the same amount of time during the day and feel much better about my business and feel less stressed about my business because I've been doing this. So that's that. Let's talk about hiring. That's the next thing. So the big thing on my mind right now is I need a copywriter. And I put a ad up on TikTok yesterday saying as much. It wasn't an ad, it was just a post. It was like, I really need a copywriter. I need a copywriter for really one reason. I'm writing all of the copy. When a client comes in, that's really what they're buying, is they're buying me sitting down with them and writing a copy, which is great. I love doing it. I love working with the clients. I love that process. But the reality is that's not scalable. It's the same thing as doing one-on-one consulting. It's just the only difference is it allows a little bit more growth because instead of maxing out and then having to wait for churn, I just have to get people through the onboarding process and the writing process. And then once they're in the maintenance phase, my team can take over. But before that, I'm working with them one-on-one, which is good. I like the work. It limits how many people I can see. So how do we fix that? How do we solve that problem? Well, there's only one way to solve it. I have to hire myself out of the business. And it occurred to me as I was thinking about this, that this is really the last big boulder that is preventing my growth. Throughout my entire career running production companies and agencies, there has been one simple thread that has held me back from success for years. And I'm sure some of you are the same way because this is not a unique Drewism. This is a universal. I hated sharing the work. And I hated it for 2 reasons. One, when I didn't have many clients, I didn't want to share the money, right? And so it was a scarcity mindset of, well, I need every dime, which is totally understandable when you only have one client and they're only giving you like $1,000 a month. Like you don't have the ability to go and pay other people out. It's just not feasible, right? You need to achieve a certain amount of volume before you can do that. The problem is that there's no chapter in the book that tells you once you make this amount of money, this is when you should start delegating stuff out. You just have to kind of feel it out. And most of the time, as you're going through that process, you're picking too late. Like 9 times out of 10, by the time you're ready to delegate, you should have delegated it 6 months ago. I know for a fact I should have delegated copywriting 6 months ago, but I'm just getting around to it now. And the reason is because it's my system, it's my process, it's what I created. And that was the same with so many other parts of this business. I was a video, I trained as in film and television. I know how to edit videos. For so long, I was editing all the videos. Why? Because I knew what I wanted. I knew how to make it. I knew how to make it right. And it wasn't until push came to shove and I could no longer, I couldn't do all the work, that I finally broke and hired a video editor. It wasn't until the client management became so unwieldy that I needed someone when Kelly was having Molly, that I hired someone to help me with operations. It wasn't until we had so many projects in the works that things were falling through the cracks that I finally broke down and hired a project manager. And so what I've realized is I have this horrible pattern of I grow beyond my limits, and that's when I hire. That's when I hire someone, when it's already far beyond due. And that's what I've done with this copywriter. And so I was talking with my friend the other day and yesterday, and he was telling me, oh, you really need to get someone in sales. I said, no, that's not the problem. Sales, irrelevant, because I can go and sell the stuff. That's fine. I don't mind doing sales calls. The problem is someone needs to service those clients. Someone needs to guarantee their success. Someone needs to sit with them on calls and do the same thing I do with them. The problem is I developed how this works. Like there's not a book I can give them. We're not a generalist agency where I can just throw anybody. There's a method to this madness, and they need to know it. And so I think that is what has kept me, is this idea that this is this precious thing that no one else can do, and I can only do it because I created it. But the reality is it's just like the project management stuff. It's just like the video editing stuff. It's the ego saying, well, you have to control this. You have to, no one possibly could do this better than you. When in reality, my project manager is so much better than me. Like at project management, ridiculous, way better. Doesn't let stuff fall through the crack that I would let fall through the crack 100 times, because she's just very, very precise and detail oriented, and is capable of juggling 40 clients at a time easily, no problems, right? My video editors are faster at cutting video than I am. What would take me a week to cut, they cut in 24 hours. So the reality is there's this ego that keeps us from growing our business because we either don't want to give up a slice of the pie, or we don't trust that we'd be able to find somebody. And the reality is that you can teach people, you can train people, and you can let go of this stuff. You just have to find someone who, one, is affordable for what you're doing, two, is capable of learning, and three, that you get along with enough that you don't mind sending clients, putting them in a room with a client and saying, this is the person that's going to help you execute on the plan we talked about in the sales call. So that's where I'm at in the business, is that we just hired a new web developer, which is great. We're insourcing that from a vendor. Really excited about that. We just promoted our art director. We just promoted our designer to art director on kind of a trial basis, seeing if he's going to be a good fit. He just turned over a website that he designed today that is phenomenal. It's unbelievable. So it's amazing when I see that, and then I'm like, why am I still waiting? Like there's got to be somebody out there. And so that's why I put that video out there yesterday, is because I need to make this. I need to make the steps. I need to go and put this out there. I need to find that person, because once I find that person, I truly believe that's going to launch us into the next. Like I think we've done well with what we have. I think if I really was pressed to it, I could probably close a couple more clients, but it would really start stressing the seams as to what we're able to produce consistently with the team we have now. But I think if I get that other copywriter, that's going to open up a whole wide world of possibility for us. And so that's really the number one focus, is finding someone to do that. Now, that is, I think, going to be the hardest role I have to fill. Copywriting is not easy. It is absolutely talent. Like, you are either good at it or you're not. ChatGPT isn't perfect at it. Like, and if you're trying to compete with ChatGPT, you have to be better than average, because ChatGPT is pretty average. That said, that is how we're planning on bridging the gap between, finding this person and be able to bring them on and train them and still being able to increase the amount of work we take on. It's finding ways to implement AI to speed up that process, speed up that creation process. And so it's very similar to what we built last week, which is, something that looks at your passions and your skills and kind of comes up with like, well, here's a business plan for you. Here's a business model that you can use to leverage these skills. What we're doing is trying to say, well, okay, for that same group of people, those people that couldn't afford to hire us to begin with, how can we create something that delivers, let's say like a copy editor quality. So like something that still needs to be punched up. It's not perfect, but it's like the starting point to be able to start working on this stuff, right? Like, maybe it's simply, if I'm spending 90 minutes with someone writing a page and I can plug all their detail in and it spits out, here's the basic outline, then we can grab that outline, punch it up, and instead of spending 90 minutes writing this page, we spend 30 minutes writing the page. And as long as the page still performs, well then, great. The other part that this comes into play is that you can now train AI on existing stuff. So we can train it on winning sales pages. We can train it on winning landing pages and winning copy from across, not even our own. We can train it on anybody's copy. And so by doing that, we now have the opportunity to go and say, okay, well, reference that, write something in that vein, and then turn it over to this new copywriter who needs to get trained and let them start doing the editing work. So while our overall goal is to have 100% human written content for all of these pages, all of these ads, because humans write better than ChatGPT can, at least this can help bridge the gap and maybe help me bring on someone that's a little bit more junior in copywriting while still being able to get them up to speed quickly. Because it's kind of like, I think Joel Irway has said this, and I think Gary Halbert in the Boron Letters said this, and maybe even Joe Sugarman. It's this idea of like, if you want to get good at copywriting, go and rewrite winning sales copy. Like go and find ads that performed really well or sales letters that perform really well and retype them. It's kind of like, I forget what director it was. He really liked Woody Allen. And so what he did was he retyped Woody Allen's scripts. And that's how he learned how to tell stories. I think Tarantino used to do that too. He retyped The Godfather or something like that. And so this is kind of an extension of that. It's using AI to kind of give you the initial framework to start from so that you're not just staring at a blank page, that you're moving forward. So I wanted to show you guys as a continuation of what we were talking about last time, something we're building for our coaching clients, which will help them build landing pages. And so this is something I've been working on for couple days, I would say. It didn't take me all that long to put it together, but I'm going to share it and then kind of walk you guys through it. Okay, and then I have to show on the screen. There we go. Cool. So this is what we call the HSUM bot, and it's hook, story, offer, motivation, which is the landing page or is the components that we use. And so how I have this thing built is this is what it does. So how can I help you? I want to write landing page. So it's asking me the audience. So I'm going to say I'm selling. My audience is business owners who are trying to reduce employee churn and boost customer loyalty. And then it wants the specific conversion action that they want them to take place. So, purchase, subscribe, download, take another action. So let's see, what should we have? Let's say download. We're gonna do like a ebook. Crucial. Can you tell me about the pain your audience is feeling? Your employees are leaving because they feel like the company doesn't appreciate them and spends more time talking about culture than actually helping their employees. That's right. Helping their employees actually doing things that make employees' lives better. Simultaneously, their customers see them as inflationary frauds, raising prices and cutting jobs just to maximize profits. All right, and I'm going to clean this up just because this is a new bot. So just in case it's not perfect with the, yeah. All right. So that's just so interesting. This is the thing I love about working with AI is like it came up with this whole thing, this trend. Both employers and customers are feeling undervalued and underappreciated. That's incredible that it could see through that. Now to share origin story. So as a business owner myself, I decided a long time ago that I wasn't going to put people over profits. The problem was I had a mortgage and a family still needed to pay my bills. Which all demanded I make more money. But I held fast to my beliefs and started giving my employees extraordinary benefits that no other employer could offer. Things like limited PTO, mandatory vacation on your birthday, which these are all real things, by the way. PTO and sick days, remote work, create your own schedule. Bonuses for recruiting new team members. Big bonuses on the anniversary of your hire. No performance reviews. Unlimited paid personal development. Many other. I found out that employees stayed around longer and gave my customers they're all working late into the night voluntarily just to make sure our clients were taken care of. Let's make shareholders in our success. And give them a job they were excited to be part of. This then trickled down to my clients and solved both issues simultaneously. Alright, that was longer than I wanted, but it works. And go through, clean up. I'm just going to new work manifesto is work manifesto to guide forward-thinking business ready to shed the broken systems yesterday and replace a human first approach to business. Uh-oh. Say. So method of vetting and herring. Roadmap to meaningful benefit plan. How to create culture of camaraderie. Great. What is the next step? I don't know why it's getting hung up all of a sudden. Okay, so here it is. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is it's not long enough. Please write my page. I hate when it does this. It gets stuck in this weird loop where it's like, oh, I'm going back to the writer's room to write. It's like, no, you've already generated it. Just send it to me. Please send it now. Oh. What is going on? I hate this. It does this every once in a while. It drives me crazy. I need it now. It's just, no, you're not. I know you're not. All right, how can I do this? Okay, please provide 3 hooks for this page. There we go. Okay, we got out of the loop. Yeah, these are pretty good. All right, are you tired of watching your employees leaving because new work manifests the keys transforming? Empower your business. When you first count by downloading the new work, discover revenue guide for empathetic business owners. I don't know. I kind of want. I want 3 more. Okay. Why does it do this? I just, it kills me how it gets in this mood sometimes where it's like, no, I'm not gonna give it to you. Give me the story section that you've written. That's pretty good. Rewrite it in the first person and expand it to be 300 words. 300 words? That's probably too many. No, actually, it should be like 500 words, probably. Oh my! This is just driving me absolutely up the wall. Just kills me. Let's see. Here is section I have written. Why is it doing that? That's really. So yeah, this is the oh wait, this is using Chat GPT 3.5. I think that might be the problem. Let me see if I can upgrade that. Oh, I don't have an API. Well, I can't share that. I gotta take that off. Let's see. API. No, wait. Do I really? I guess I don't have it in there. I don't know why that is. Let's go. Where is it? API keys. GPT-4. Let's see if this, see if we can change this guy. There we go. Okay. Oh, I don't have access to that one. All right, well, I gotta change that. Let's try that one more time. If that wasn't it. I guess it's just, it must just be in the prompt. It must be something I got. Let's see. I'm just going to add a rule to it that says, like, you will deliver the beginning page content immediately when requested. All right. This is not working. Oh well, guys. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Anyway, yeah, but that's an idea of how we're looking at, taking this role at Grow House, which is really critical, the copywriter's role, and finding a way to bridge it so that not only can we hire someone that, obviously no one is going to know how I do what I do automatically. There's always going to be a sense of training there. But there's a big difference between me being able to sit with them on an endless series of calls and train them and giving them something interactive that they can then take the details from a client, pour it into, see how this AI is delivering the content, then taking that content, editing it, and having the core of that content based off of real landing pages that we've written that have been successful. It's a new training method. It's a new way of teaching someone not only how to be a copywriter, but how to be a Grow House copywriter. And so it's something I'm really excited about. It's, this building these bots really started as something that I could give my coaching clients, and it would be like a cool thing for them to participate with and use as like their own little copywriting assistant. And then when I started thinking about hiring this person, I realized there's a lot of power in using this as a training tool, using this as a surrogate for me when I'm on a sales call or I'm doing something else, or I can't sit next to them, 24 hours a day. So anyway, I hope y'all thought that was interesting. I hope you thought the calendar was helpful. Keep motivated, keep productive. I'll see you next week. Yeah. So anyway, have a good one. Talk to you later.